Splot Studios, your guide to love on the high seas, proudly presents
TomHanksgiving, right here every Tuesday. TomHanksgiving, come on and press play. There's Elvis, the host with the most, yada 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 yada. With a different guest each week, they're the smart ones. Each episode's a new movie about Tom Hanks, the man himself. Of course, it's time for TomHanksgiving. It's the best you can get. It's the rootinest, tootinest podcast on the internet. TomHanksgiving.
Howdy, partner, and welcome to TomHanksgiving. I'm your captain, Elvis Kunesh, and welcome to the Love Boat episode
Love Boat
of TomHanksgiving. I'm very excited. We're talking about the Love Boat Season 4, Episode 1, which is, it has like 3 different titles because they do a weird 3-segment thing. We'll get into that in a second. And I'm joined by...
Lauren Scharf.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You're my cruise expert.
I suppose so.
You're the YouTube famous Jean Crotch girl.
YouTube quote unquote famous is the full title. Crotch hole videos. If you guys ever get a tear or a rip in between your legs and your pants, just Google it. You'll find me.
It'll be in the show notes,
yes.
For sure. Wow. Okay, so we just watched the episode.
Yeah, it was a doozy.
Yeah, didn't realize it was an hour long until we started watching.
Yeah, but I think that works.
There was now I'm just thinking about how many episodes of The Love Boat there are. Because that's the other thing. To preface this, neither of us have seen a single frame of The Love Boat beyond what we just watched today.
Yeah.
So we're coming in not as experts or even as casual observers.
We're passengers on this Love Boat and not members of the crew.
Exactly. So this will allow us to infuriate all of the hardcore Love Boat listeners and speculate what the show is about before and afterward.
What its purpose? What purpose did it serve?
Exactly. Why don't we start with narrowing down to our very specific focus on this episode?
Yes.
Which of course guest stars Tom Hanks. That's why we're doing this. If you didn't get that up front, and kind of go through what the story is of this episode. Lauren, take it away.
I guess, yeah. Well, we got 3 fun storylines. Should I just start with the one that's got Hanks?
Sure, yeah.
Hanks is a studly womanizer in this episode, and he is a passenger on the boat and sees a former frat buddy from college days, Gopher, I guess.
Yeah, the ship's purser, which means he works with the money on the ship.
Yeah, does the money.
Gopher, he's kind of like this slim, dorky guy.
Yeah, he looks like your storybook nice guy, and Gopher doesn't seem too pleased to see him, and because Rick, I guess in the college days, was always showing him up.
Rick Martin, very close to Ricky Martin.
Ricky Martin. She bangs, live in La Vida Loca.
Tom, certainly, he bangs.
He bangs. So to make him feel better about himself, Gopher pretends that the lovely lady next to him, who is Julie, the cruise director, he pretends that they are in a relationship, that he's locked down a lovely lady.
That old trope.
Yeah, that old trope, just to get one up on old Hanksy.
Yeah. And then we're also, that continues throughout the hour long, but it's mixed in with these other 2 stories. One where it's about a military reunion.
Yeah.
Where the sergeant is... he's too hardcore and he's in the army.
Yeah, his heart belongs to the army, and he only retired out of forced retirement.
Yeah, he's closed, and we learn he's closed off when his 3 army buddies / subordinates are like sick of him.
Yeah.
And they enlist Doris Roberts in another guest star.
The sexy Doris Roberts.
The saucy Roberts.
Take his mind off the army for a little time.
Yeah, and then the third story, the final story is
Gwen.
The story of Gwen.
Sweet single and knocked up Gwen.
And her wayward romance with some guy named Dennis.
Yeah, some guy named Dennis. She shows up on the boat and needs to talk to the doctor just to let him know she's 2 months pregnant. And he asks if the mister is around, which... He is not, yeah, which was unheard of, or at least called for several raised eyebrows in 1980 when this episode, I believe, aired.
Yes, 1980.
Yeah.
Gwen...
she's pregnant and scared.
Pregnant, scared, but proud.
Yes.
Happy to be raising a child on her own. She's okay with
pro-life.
She's pro-life.
Pro-life.
We're gonna...
She establishes that many times,
yes.
I think, because television...
We weren't sure if they were going to hit the A word, but they hit it.
Yeah, several times.
And
I think you couldn't actually say pregnant for a while on TV, but abortion...
Yeah, I Love Lucy, they said I'm going to have a baby.
With child, or
yeah. You couldn't say pregnant.
Well, not that this was I Love Lucy days, but
no.
It's interesting. I would like to see when the word abortion was allowed in family shows.
We should have more research. This might be the first time abortion. I'm just going to claim that as a fact.
Yeah.
The first time abortion.
Oh, can you use the word abortion on a podcast? We're going to get
This is not the first time we've talked about abortion on TomHanksgiving. It comes up
surprisingly
a lot.
Yeah.
It's a pro-choice podcast, though.
Pro-choice podcast.
Just putting that out there up front.
Great.
And then we meet Dennis, who is kind of pro-choice.
Yeah.
Who is Gwen's love interest.
Yeah, love interest. He swings her into his arms in the course of their first day on ship.
They're on the ship for about, 48 hours?
Yeah.
Maybe.
They go to Mexico and back again.
Yeah.
And they have all these plans to... Should we just run through them?
Yeah, I guess we should get through everything.
Yeah, from the first... When he first sees her, he accidentally calls her monkey.
Well, I want to get into that later. Let's finish the story summary.
Yeah. When he first sees her, he mistakes her for someone he knows, but then they get to talking. They get to holding hands. They get to kissing.
And immediately they're in love.
That immediately means they're in love. Like, honestly,
they're going to move in together.
All three storylines, the L word, I mean, they don't call it the Love Boat for nothing.
Yes.
So,
which I have a theory about. We're going to get into that.
Yeah.
It's a high swinging romance for Gwen and Dennis.
Yeah.
And then she of course finally tells him.
Yeah. After many teases, there's so many moments where she's like, "There's something I really need to tell you. I am just having an incredible time." You know.
Yeah. But we gotta stretch this out to a whole hour, and there's not a lot of conflict.
Yeah.
Although there's so much conflict.
There is.
That could be in the story. They just kind of for the obvious.
So as soon as she does tell him, Dennis jumps ship, so to speak. He doesn't actually jump off the ship.
No, but he flies home from Mexico.
He flies home from Mexico because he can't deal with pregnancy.
Which, bear in mind, he didn't get on this cruise knowing that Gwen was gonna be there.
So he was just so put off by the fact that the woman he found for his cruise time fling is with child.
Yeah. Another man's child, and refuses to get an abortion.
Yeah. He used the word apparently proud of it, as though like that would be... In these days, if you're going to be a single mother and you're proud of it, you wouldn't use the word apparently. Mm-hmm. You would just, I'm going to raise this kid. It's not unheard of these days, but that's how much progress we've made. Way to go, women.
And so Dennis is obviously despicable, but at the end of the episode...
it looks like she and the doctor, like the doctor was her shoulder to cry on. And
I was rooting for the doc, honestly.
Who wasn't? I think you gotta be rooting for the doc, but because this was different times, who shows up at the port?
Floppy-haired douchebag Dennis. Who's come around on the whole raising another man's child.
He just needed... a breather. He needed to waste his money on a flight out of Mexico.
Quite a drama queen, if that's his reaction.
Really, really. He says male ego was what got in the way. Mm-hmm. Which, honestly, that's what gets in the way of many things.
Mm-hmm. It's honestly the only thing stopping this podcast from being incredibly popular.
Yeah, of course.
But it's also, about a male ego, Tom Hanks. So it's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
And then the conclusion to the other two stories, we'll finish with Hanks's at the end. But the sergeant story is...
So they enlist the lovely Doris Roberts to just take his mind off the army. She breaks into his cabin, comes into his cabin, presumably to clean.
Very seductive.
Ooh, sergeant. And he's like, call me Harry, So it's already working, and they're they have a nice romantic dinner in the cabin, and he opens up, he's like, she's like, just have a normal conversation with me, don't tell me about the war, and he tells her why it's so hard for him to do that.
Sarge is closed off.
Yeah, he's closed off.
He doesn't know how to relate to
the
other
army was
people.
his glory days.
That's why he's so into this. He plans like special meal arrangements, and he planned the whole thing for his army buddies because this is the only way he can relate to people.
Yeah.
And he opens up his soul. He bears his heart to this woman, and that's when he overhears. Oops.
The army buddies are out on the poop deck.
The bow. Ship term.
They're
loudly championing their.
This is after just after he's confessed that he's like, I think even though I've only known you for 15 hours or whatever, I think I'm in love.
Yes.
And then he overhears, and also Doris did try to tell him like, there's something I have to tell you, like your buddies did put me up to this. But he overhears the guy saying like, "Ha ha, we got him off our backs thanks to that lady's."
It's like you really can hang with your guy for 72 hours even when he's annoying.
Yeah.
My God.
It's in my book though, this isn't that bad of an offense, and Mr. Sargent gets just so horribly offended by it. He says that what she did to him was worse than any pain he sustained in the war.
Yeah.
Which that's a little male ego getting in
all
there.
male ego. That's
male ego.
I mean, and honestly that carries over to the third story finale. But to finish this one up, Doris, he overreacts.
Yeah.
He's like hurt, but then Doris, she has a key that feels like a bit like I don't know if an employee should do that.
Well, she cleans, right? So I think she would have the keys to all the cabins.
Right. No, but it still feels like an invasion of privacy when he specifically doesn't
Shuts
want her in
out,
there.
yeah.
And then he goes in and like jumps in the shower, and we were like, "Is he gonna commit suicide?"
We really thought this was maybe the Love Boat episode that had suicide.
Well, we already tackled abortion.
Yeah, tackled abortion.
Just throw it all. It's the pilot episode of a new season.
Yes.
Throw it in, make it a big episode.
Yeah,
for
but
ratings.
then he starts singing one of his army songs, and Doris joins in, and I guess it's because of that they're able to put their differences aside.
Yes, they find common ground through his interests, of course, not hers.
Mm-hmm.
And they leave by saying they're going to get married.
Yeah.
And in 30 years, they'll be having a 30th anniversary on the show.
Another 30th anniversary, because
Yes.
the Army fellows were gathered for their 30th anniversary of the Korean War.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how fast love works, you guys.
Yes.
It's magical.
And love works especially quickly on the Love Boat, except for the employees who have been there presumably for 3 seasons, and now at the beginning of their 4th season, Gopher and Julie are finally like, maybe there's something between
I wouldn't be
us.
surprised if, like, in other seasons they have some sort of will they or won't they, but I guess in this season, I would like to think that, like, the episode, I guess we'll have to finish Tom Hanks' story.
Yeah.
So where did we leave off with Tom?
So Gopher and Julie are pretending to be a
Putting up
couple
this
for
facade.
Tom Hanks's character's Rick Martin's benefit.
Yes.
So, because Rick Martin, he shows up and then he's like getting rubbed on by three women.
One covering the legs, one on the chest, and one just on the biceps. You know?
Yeah. So he's just
That's our first shot, not first shot of him, but that's our first shot of him in vacation mode.
a lot of skin.
Yeah.
For Hanks.
Yeah.
So that's a
nice
plus already.
gams. He's got some legs.
These were the legs that would eventually do all that running in Forrest Gump.
Yeah, and so Julie pulls him away, tries to step in there. She's playing her role very nicely.
She gets into it.
She's a good friend.
Maybe too good.
Maybe too good, yeah. And so they have dinner together, Julie, Gopher, and Tom Hanks. And under the table, Tom Hanks gets a little handsy with Julie.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's like because he calls him Strikeout Smith.
Yeah.
Because that's how he was in college. He couldn't get a date. Mm-hmm. And it becomes Tom Hanks' mission to steal away Gopher's lady.
And you wonder, Julie. This was his MO in college.
Yeah.
Like, that's how he did it. That's why Smith was a strikeout, you know?
Yeah. And it becomes this relentless pursuit, and it eventually evolves to, of course, there's a fake kiss that turns into a real kiss.
Yes. Julie sees Hanks coming and quickly just grabs for Gopher's face, and they passionately kiss with a little bit of spit that I was able to see even with the 1980s resolution. And Hanks sees this and turns and walks away. Defeated. Almost. But not yet. He
doesn't give up.
He doesn't give up. He does not take a hint, or he chooses not to take a hint. He goes to Julie's office, tries to sway her once more, and she's like, absolutely not. Like, Gopher's the man for me.
Mm-hmm. And then it kind of just
And because of the kiss, like Gopher and Julie they're talking to other crew members. I don't know what to do about this. What does a kiss mean here?
Yeah, the story gets away from Tom Hanks for a bit.
They kind of have to cross over a little bit.
Yeah, and then it just becomes about Gopher and both Julie, but mostly Gopher.
Yeah, and the crew's trying to figure out if they're going to get together. Because also it seems like Strikeout Smith has carried on his reputation onto this boat. Like, people are like, you?
Gopher?
And Julie?
Yeah.
What?
I mean, the guy's name is Gopher. He's probably not...
Yeah.
He doesn't have a great batting average.
Yeah, Strikeout.
His real name is Burl.
Burl.
Which is not helping
It's not what a lady wants to yell in the throes of passion.
Burl!
Oh, Burl.
And then, then it gets to the point where he's like, Captain, you can marry people who are employees together. So he's thinking about marriage. Everybody on this ship who falls for someone, like they fall for them, and then they're already thinking like,
they fall
this
fast.
Is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's up for question with this storyline, but then in every other storyline, the kiss means, well, we're together forever now, or we're going to have a 30-year anniversary. In this one, there's a little bit of will they or won't they debate, discussion. But eventually they're like, I think we need to explore what's here. And they try for it.
And there's just no passion without the catalyst. Honestly...
Lightning's not striking.
But it's because Tom Hanks isn't there. And this is a problem I've had within my personal relationships. When I'm trying to be with a woman and we're not thinking about Tom Hanks,
nothing,
there's trouble.
Yeah, it is.
Dry
it up until enter Hanks.
Yes. That's why I always have the Toy Story soundtrack playing in the background.
Yes.
Perfect romantic.
If only mood
center.
If only
strange things are happening.
If only a little bit. If only you could tug something to get a little. There's a snake in my boot.
Oh yes, that's what we're going for.
Yes.
Oh man. So
anyway.
they find that there's no real chemistry between them without this frame. But it works in the sense that Tom Hanks finally respects Gopher enough to ask him. He pulls
Gopher aside and he says, I can't believe I'm asking you this, which is fucking rude.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I'm asking you this, but what's your secret? And Burl, our friend Burl, says you have to just make friends first.
Oh, you gotta. You start with a friend.
You start with a friend.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't think you would.
Yeah, Hanks doesn't get it because he would never see a woman as a friend.
Well, this is pre-Toy Story Hanks, too, so he hasn't gone through that journey of you've got a friend in me.
Nope, not yet.
Just to tie it in to everything. So Hanks leaves, and then they're not a couple.
They're not a couple, but I would like to think...
You think there's a hint there?
I would like to think that, the writers of this backed off a bit. They're like, no, let's drag this out a bit and maybe...
Well, it does go on for 7 more years.
If anyone listening is a Love Boat enthusiast and knows the whole series, let us know. Do Julie and Gopher ever end up together?
Yeah, because we're not going to look it up. But we want to know.
We do.
But it's all on you. So write us TomHanksPod@gmail.com or tweet us TomHanksPod.
Yeah.
So that's the story. But now we're going to talk what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Because really, there's just a lot. First thing I want to talk about is the Love Boat. Is there a... Actually, I want to ask you, because you recently went on a cruise.
I did. I went on a cruise.
How long was this cruise? Tell us as much information as you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, no worries. It was a 3-day cruise.
It's probably similar to this. Okay.
Yeah, docked in Miami and went to the Bahamas. Yeah.
Very nice.
Same time as Fire Festival, only I had no idea what was going on with that was Fire Festival. Even though I was in the same country as it, but I couldn't get internet on the boat, which was a problem they explored on the Love Boat. No Wi-Fi. But no. It was we sailed from Miami to the Bahamas for about a day, and then we docked in the in Nassau. I hope I keep saying Nassau, but Nassau. We explored NASA for a day, and then got back on the ship. Tom Hanks
Apollo
was there.
13,
yeah,
NASA.
NASA, and NASA. Okay,
I gotta ask though. 12 hours in, how many proposals have you received?
Oh God, I just was turning them away at every deck.
So you never had you didn't have the passionate kiss?
No,
I didn't fall in love with anyone?
Here was the most romantic gesture that was made towards me. My sister and I were taking a walk like back to our cabin on the last night, and this guy came up to us and just like chatted with us for a moment, and then he was like, "Could I take a picture of you guys for my collection?"
Whoa!
So that's what's on cruises now. Not who. That's what's on cruises these days. But other than that, I was noticing while like with the establishing shots of the boat, I was like, oh yeah, that looks just like our pool deck. They've got the chairs all around, like centered around a pool, and most people are in their swimsuits. Some are a little dressed up. I will say the people on my cruise, there was no dress code. There was,
It was all over the...
It was all, I literally at one point told a woman that her cover-up looked very bridal, and I meant it. Like, it was the nicest looking cover. That was like, that was quality wardrobe set up on a cruise.
Okay.
Yeah. I asked a cruise director also, I was like, is there any dress code for the dining? I know like pool deck is one thing, but dining. And she literally answered with a perfect southern twang, like, I mean, you're on a boat. So okay, guys.
Come as you please, wear what you want.
Wear what you want, as long as you got your, I think it was a no shoes, no service situation, but like, it would be kind of gross to not wear shoes to dinner. Anyway, so... but no, definitely no immediate connections.
There was no, I mean...
not among the passengers, not among the crew, and not among passenger to crew.
So I feel like this is a thing that, probably less so now because of, I guess, just the internet, but I feel like this is a thing that media has done, and film and TV, is like, it's presented this glamorous idea of the vacation romance, whether it's like, oh, I met someone on the plane. Yeah. Like, that's like the worst version. Like, you're stuck on the plane. Yeah. And there's nowhere to go.
The love plane.
Yeah, you should never hit on anybody on a plane.
Oh, yeah.
Ever. Even if you're related, or especially if you're related.
Even if you're related, yeah, you probably should.
No, but especially, even if you're like dating them, just it's.
Yeah.
My God.
Keep your hands to yourself, Hanks.
But yeah, like on a boat, like, I feel like there's always this mentality of like, oh, maybe I'll meet someone, because it's like,
I mean, Titanic. It's banking on people being like, oh, wouldn't it be great if I could go on a trip to change my life, and then I end up meeting the person my soulmate that I'm meant to be with.
It's also like there's this mentality of like, oh, it's the perfect excuse for a fling. I don't have to be myself. Yeah. There's like these, but I don't know. My experience that nothing has ever come to be on any sort of vacation. No.
What I will say is,
did you have even like a moment of like, maybe I'll be
I did the first day. Every person you're passing, if they're
you're gonna check them out,
because there were a lot of, let's just say that like and I'm one of these people. I went on the cruise to eat a whole bunch of food, and a lot of the people. It was interesting because you get a sample of what United States body type is, and there were a lot of larger. They rolled on the round side. It reminded me of Wall-E a little bit.
The Axiom is just a cruise ship in space.
So yeah, when you would come across some people who like, oh, they're gonna actually make use of the cruise gym, like that's when you would be like, maybe I'll find them later, like at the buffet. But no, you wouldn't. I would be at the buffet and they would be at the freaking gym. So yeah, nothing came other than that. Just
so basically, you as our control group, separate from the characters in the Love Boat, yes, have proven that there's no like strange cruise mentality that creates like this vortex of I gotta have something.
I will say I'm probably like a bad control group for that, because I wouldn't be. There was like a club set up. There was like a club where every night they would play, the grind. I heard someone recently refer to it as straight people music, and that's the best way to describe it, because it's music where I started listening to it, and even though I am straight, I was listening to it, and I was like, I don't understand how people can dance to this. They had an 80s night, but it was only for 1 hour. For 1 hour, they played like jams from the 80s, and I was tearing up the dance floor, and I was like looking around at any of the guys that were joining me, and there really was not many. And everyone was standing along the wall waiting for like the straight people music.
What is straight people music?
It's just like one rap song after the next that just, they all sound the same, and the only way to dance to it is just grind your ass up on some guy.
Yeah, I guess
Or,
I'm thinking of all the music
they
played at like rap parties then, and it's like, I can't dance.
I love to go dancing, but I can't dance to this. Sorry if this is getting like off topic. But
no, this is exactly what we want to talk about. We want to hear about Lauren Scharf's dancing.
Get into that. And I'm sure if I could, maybe there would have been a nice gentleman whose groin I was grinding up against. That, and we would have had
a gentlemanly groin.
I am, if nothing else, a classy grinder. But no, there wasn't any of that for me because I was the girl bouncing around to I want to dance with somebody, while everyone else stood along the wall and just watched and probably thought I was on coke or something. I don't know. Well, yeah. But yeah.
Okay, but okay. So then my next question is, so you didn't experience the Love Boat falling in love thing that we've seen on the show, but did you observe? Was this happening? Was there just like random people coming together and falling passionately in love? Is this a thing?
If it did, it happened in the club, but I would say there were probably a lot of couples there.
And that doesn't really count. Right?
Yeah, that doesn't really count. I there's no way to know for sure, but if I was seeing like two people canoodling by the pool, it's likely that they were a couple. But if I saw people grinding in the club or making out in the club or whatever, it's likely that they were, having a good time for the night.
Yeah. So I feel like what we're building here too is that there's something unique about the Love Boat.
Yes, absolutely. There definitely wasn't the Love Boat effect on this boat.
So that makes me believe, granted, I know nothing about the future or past of this show beyond this episode.
Yes.
And it's not like implied through any of the theme music where you usually get like your expository stuff. But I have to believe that maybe like a wizard enchanted this ship in the beginning. Maybe they ran over a mermaid or something, and her blood and guts that went through the gutters.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, it just like made this love spell happen.
Yeah.
So that
where a kiss is never just a kiss. A kiss is either like, will we get together or won't we? Or it means we will explore our relationship. And I'm trying to think of some of the sweet nothings that douchebag Dennis said to Gwen.
Douchebag Dennis.
Yeah, he said, we'll just have to explore your story tomorrow morning. And that's what led me to think that they
fucked. They boned.
They banged that night in one of their cabins.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's go. Who banged?
Who
did anyone bang?
I want to say Doris and Harry.
I know.
What's Doris's character's name?
Rose. Rose and Sarge.
Doris Roberts, aka Rose, and Sergeant Harry. I would like to think that they, after they sang in the shower, him being in the shower, I would like to say he was like, "Why don't you get in here with me, Doris?"
I think it's safe to assume that they did, considering they're going to get married the next day.
Yeah. Also, that would be like the most acceptable in the time couple to have extramarital.
Yeah, they're also a little older, so it's like, let's get this.
Yeah.
We don't have as much time to fall in love as these young kids.
We have an excuse. Whereas, like, Gwen, 2 months pregnant, and Dennis, Dennis did compliment her at one point by calling her an old-fashioned woman, which I guess is supposed to mean you keep it in your pants until the right man comes along. But we know that it is already too late.
Yeah, that is not true. I guess it's possible, too, to interpret that that Rose and Sarge didn't bang, and they're getting married so they can bang as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Considering it's going
to be a busy night for the cruise ship captain.
Oh, yeah. I mean, actually, they could have gotten married. Maybe they did.
We
would have seen
honestly,
that.
I wonder if the reason boat captains are able to officiate weddings like that just automatically, I wonder if it's because so many people were just falling in love on boats.
But that's only to the Love Boat, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless maybe the magic ran out by the new millennium.
Yeah, I think with the invention of dating apps where you can meet just anyone, the cruise is like, okay, I'm going to meet someone that I wouldn't otherwise meet where I'm from or where I vacation. Like, this is something that's going to shove 2,000 people, give or take a couple, onto a boat, and there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
I can't believe you actually went. This sounds terrifying. I would never want to go on a cruise ship.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
a lot of seafood, right?
It both expands and at the same time limits your dating pool to this whole new, range that you have never explored and would not explore had you not.
There's certainly something to being forced into close company with people you normally wouldn't see.
Yes.
But I feel like the reason we have things like Tinder and other dating apps is like we kind of know what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Which is obviously limiting, and that's why like romantic stories like how your parents met and you further back. It's like, oh.
And I'm sure there are many parents who not just parents, many married couples who would say like, oh well, we met on vacation. We met and fell in love, and next thing you know, I'm asking him to move to Seattle with me or whatever.
Yeah. And it's just like obviously there's like now this problem of like unlimited choice, which almost kills your interest in like, oh, here's a person, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah.
It's like, do I really want this one when there's like 5,000 other profiles?
Why commit to one flavor when you can have? And I mean, and Tom Hanks in this episode knows that better than anyone.
Oh, he does.
He even says, he's like, I don't want to let myself get tied down with one woman. He's a polygamist or a polyamorous, if you will. That's how you don't get oiled down by 3 chicks at once.
No, I mean, I gotta wonder what did he what's those chicks deal?
Yeah, I want to see an episode about them.
Yeah, like I mean, if they're
I wanted to ask actually every character in this episode that's not on every passenger. I want to ask why did they decide to make this trip? Gwen is 2 months pregnant. Did she plan the trip before she was pregnant?
Oh yeah, my headcanon is like she was going to go on the trip with the guy.
Oh, that could be it. Mm-hmm. So then there's a ticket she doesn't get to use.
Yeah.
Waste of money.
I know, but people are wasting money on the show all the time. Like
left
her
and
fucking
right.
Her guy.
He flies
Dennis.
back. He's so put off by the pregnancy announcement that he's like, peace.
Even I can't talk to you the rest of this trip. It's I have to be away from this child inside of you.
Yes. Man, really unfortunate time for women all the time.
Yeah, still is.
Still is. Yeah. I'm looking at my notes now.
Okay, so there's some sort of weird I think we can establish that's true.
Yeah,
there's some supernatural
it's a Twilight
quality.
Zone of love.
Yes. Because you also this is definitely true. This sort of thing happens. This is every episode.
Yeah.
It's not these same characters, obviously, and that's the benefit of having guest stars every episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, every episode people are falling in love.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't even one of the 3 stories where it was not about falling in love.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the point. It's the love of it.
Yeah. It's not called the friendship boat.
Yeah. Well, it would be a friendship. It wouldn't be redundant.
The friendship ship. Good ship lollipop. Anyway,
friendship frigate.
Friendship ship. We should make that spinoff. Just
the friendship.
Where people go on vacation just to make friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll get Tom Hanks to guest star.
Yes.
As Rick Martin, the same character.
The same character, and he's the only one that's there to hook up, but everyone's like, can't we just be friends? And
I love Hanks when he plays a villain.
I don't get it. Where I have no one to oil me up now.
Oh my god. No, we gotta get Meg Ryan, Shelley Long, and Rita Wilson, of course, to be the people oiling him up.
Yes. And also, just for good measure, a volleyball.
Oh, yes.
I just realized this morning, by the way, that like Rita Wilson's last name is Wilson. Does he shout out her last name in their throes of passion? Mm-hmm. Is that joke already been made?
I'm sure that was our second episode, so it probably came up, but I don't remember. But if not, we're making it now.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that can't even be a joke. Like
no.
I'm sure when he was connecting with the volleyball, that helped a lot.
He pictured his wife's face. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, they look similar.
They totally do.
Both very attractive volleyball / humans.
I mean, she looks more like the volleyball than she did her younger counterpart in Now and Then, which I shouldn't say that. That girl died.
I'm unfamiliar. It's not a Tom Hanks movie.
You gotta watch. You gotta do a Rita Wilson anthology spinoff. Yes. It's gotta happen now. And if you do, and you don't have me on the episode for for now and then.
All right, if I ever do a Rita Wilson spinoff, I don't have a pun for it yet, so it doesn't look good. You'll come on for now and then.
Okay.
All right.
We're gonna brainstorm this.
But back to the Love Boat.
Back to the Love Boat.
Back to Tom Hanks. So some supernatural's going on. That I don't think I have anything else to say. That's canon.
There's a like I said, Twilight Zone-esque curse of sorts put on this boat.
If that's true, then do you think as soon as these people get, specifically, let's look at Gwen and Dennis.
Off, yeah.
Yeah, is she gonna be like, what the fuck am I doing with this guy?
Yeah.
Or is he immediately gonna be like,
no,
I don't want to raise him. Like,
yeah, I think so. And same thing with like Doris. They march away. That's our last shot of them. They're marching off because army, you know. And I wonder if as soon as she gets on the port, she just realizes I actually got a guy over in Long Beach. They're in LA, right? The docks in LA.
That's what they said, yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know. That would be sad, but real life does have to come back.
You know what? I guess actually there's a textual argument against that. That's not true because Dennis leaves the boat. He's
true.
Off. Comes back for her.
That's the reason they had to bring him back in. It wasn't just because they thought it would test well, but because they had to show, like, no, we have to establish that even though there's a world outside of the Love Boat, even if you are to re-enter that world after having been under the spell of the Love Boat, you are still under that spell.
It's a permanent spell / it's a curse.
Yes. And works out for Gwen. Now she's found a man to father.
Which is absolutely necessary.
The daddyless baby.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't be a single mother.
No.
Not in 1980.
Come
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
Eyebrows raising all over. You guys can't see, but.
So there's a lot of. There's a lot of handsome, swinging bachelors on this show.
Yes.
And I think.
Line them up.
I think we gotta line them up. We gotta choose which one is. Well, let's rank these guys.
Let's
Tom ranks these guys on a scale of
bangable or
because this is the Love Boat.
Yeah, love.
The most that you would want to be from. I guess we'll go from top to bottom or bottom to top.
Okay.
The best bachelor for marriage.
Yes.
And so here's what I'm gonna line out. We have 4. We have Dennis, who is. We've been calling Douchebag Dennis.
Douchebag Dennis.
And
I also wrote him in my notes as Monkey Lover because I didn't know his name. I forgot I didn't listen to his name. And so I was just, to remember him, I wrote Monkey Lover because he calls her Monkey.
So there's Dennis, who ends up with Gwen, and doesn't initially like raising another man's child.
Yes.
There's Rick, who is Tom Hanks' character.
Yes, Rick Hanks.
Rick Martin.
Remember that.
Yes.
Ricky Martin.
Ricky Martin, who is the most macho guy, I guess.
Yeah.
He's got women draping all over him. He's a womanizer.
He's a walking Love Boat. He puts women under his spell.
Yeah, he's clearly got some sort of wizardy thing going on.
Soul to soul.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then there's Gopher, who's the member of the staff, who's the one who has maybe feelings for Julie, but then no, I guess we're just friends at
and
the
seems
end.
to be a little butt of the joke among the crew.
Yeah, he's known as Strikeout Smith from his college days.
And then his nickname is just Gopher.
Yeah.
You know?
So he's definitely the dorky one.
Yeah.
And then we have, to round it out, we got Sarge Bull, Harry. But we're gonna call him Sarge. I like him better.
Yes.
Who is the military man, the career military man, who has
can't let his army days go.
And has trouble opening up.
Yeah.
So
pent up feelings.
a lot of 4 great guys.
Yes.
And I want to go through each one and go through pros, cons, and I'm going to play some devil's advocate.
Yeah.
And you're going to be our lovely Bachelorette.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to say.
All right.
Who would you like to start with? Who is Bachelor number 1?
I was hoping that the doctor was going to be on this list, but should we just we'll come back to him later?
Let's come back to
he wasn't falling for
he didn't fall in love with anybody.
Yes.
Although at the beginning I wanted him to go for Gwen.
Yeah. Even at the end.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
wanted him to, I guess.
But also he's the obvious choice for number 1. So.
Yeah, he is the obvious choice. So to give everyone else a chance, to give particularly Gopher a chance,
yes.
Gopher would be the most lovable. He's written as your textbook textbook nice guy.
Yes.
In this.
Here's okay. So here's the pros and cons for Gopher as I see them.
Yes.
Pro, nice, kind. They at least have a relationship together.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that, like, okay, she's known him for more than 48 hours.
Yes.
That's huge.
That's the most believable of all relationships, and yet it's the only one that's ever debated.
Yes. However, all of his pros pretty much seem to be basic human decency.
Yes.
The bare minimum. Mm-hmm. The cons, and this is where, like, as soon as he was asking about marriage, it's like, oh, I know why you're Strikeout Smith. You actually are bad at this.
Yeah.
You're not a...
He takes an inch and goes a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does not understand.
Yeah.
Can't read signals.
The thing is, though, I have trouble discerning whether or not that's the boat talking.
Yes, that's true, because that's kind of my leniency on Gopher is everybody else goes through the exact same motions, but he just talks to the captain because he knows the captain.
What's weird is, so he talks to Isaac, the bartender, before he goes to the captain, and to Isaac, he's like, what do you think? Like, I don't know, could you ever think of a person like me with Julie? And the guy, it's the middle of the night and they're in their jammies, and so Isaac's already confused. But I don't know, he's not sure if, like, the kiss means they're destined for each other. But he's debating it. He is taking the time to debate it before he goes to the captain and then uses the M word, marriage.
Let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. Is that Gopher's first kiss?
Oh, man. Poor guy. Maybe. It's possible. Because it's the rest of the crew reacting to just the thought of Gopher and Julie is just, it
implies that in the previous 3 seasons, he hasn't gotten any action.
He has the Strikeout Smith strikes out again.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's possible. Okay, assuming it is his first kiss, yeah, I can see why he would maybe jump to a crazy conclusion like that.
That's a big con, I would feel like, at his age.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard out there.
So, okay, but you're saying you're still leaning more towards Gopher.
Still leaning more towards Gopher.
Let me throw in a curveball. Let's talk about Sarge.
That's true. Sarge, maybe it's the age gap for me. Okay, but assuming I am Doris Roberts' age, which I love that even though this was 35 years ago, Doris Roberts is already playing a senior. It's just
there's some actors who, like, I don't want to say unfortunately, because there's nothing wrong with being old, obviously, but, like, they just, like, have a look, and it's like they age instantly, and then they're old for their entire career.
Yes.
But there's certain people who just, like, age. And they look better with age. This tend to happens with men.
Judi Dench. Oh, yes.
With Judi Dench. But I was going to go, like, Larry David as a young man. Yikes.
Yeah.
Old, I mean, he's still bald and decrepit, but he looks like Larry David.
Yeah,
it works for him.
He's your guy, Larry David.
Yeah.
Not huggable.
No,
he doesn't look, but
not
he
lovable.
Both in personality, but yeah, not lovable. But
all right, he was a bad example. Richard Gere has always had salt and pepper hair.
Speaking of Gophers. We'll explore that some other time.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking, if I was Doris Roberts' age, you know what? Sarge would be a stand-up fella. I think I do have a bit of an aversion. I support our troops and all that, but like it would be tough to be intimate with a former army man.
Yes, and a sergeant at that.
Yeah, a sergeant.
Who's made it his career, his hobby.
And where it's been established with this guy, it's hard for him to let those glory days go. Mm-hmm.
So that's more of a personality thing with
maybe once Doris takes him under her wing, her loving wing, like, and he learns to open up. Maybe post Doris, if it doesn't work out for them, maybe I would explore a relationship with Sarge.
I mean, like, the pros and cons we got from the episode are obviously through the cons. He's preoccupied with the army stuff.
Yes.
Closed off is another big one.
Mm-hmm.
Pros, muscular features, according to Doris.
Yeah, he does have a beer gut.
I think actually the most positive thing, he might have the most positive trait I could see, outside of one very obvious example, is that he actually becomes self-aware and recognizes his own faults at the end.
Yeah.
And that was like, oh, there's some growth for this guy. He gets it.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that.
I'm a little. I was just because he reiterated a couple times how much she hurt him just from the setup. When honestly, I didn't get the feeling that his army buddies had any cruel intentions behind putting Doris in his path. Like I just looked at it as like, man, he's just so hung up on the army. They literally said we just want someone to take his mind off of it.
Yeah, it was there was no cruel intentions. It was It's honestly it's kind of like thinking about me as a guy, like, oh, if my friends like tried to set me up with someone but I didn't know. It's like it's a little weird, like, dude, guy, don't do that.
Yeah, but don't meddle, but he gets very offended. Yeah.
Like when I think of my strikeout Smiths who are my friends, like I would probably do something like just go talk to that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I wouldn't do that because it's like I respect you as a woman. I don't talk to him unless you want to. But it's the 80s.
That is something we have to remember. I sometimes think if we move on to Dennis, are we not ready to move on?
I have one more thing about Sarge.
Okay. Yeah, Sarge.
And that's is this Sarge's first relationship?
I don't know, man. Oh, God, yeah. Not only do we need to know the background for these crew members of Love Boat, which is somewhere available to us, but these are...
Sarge has never shown up. We have no idea.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did have an army wife back in the day, and maybe things didn't work out for
He didn't leave
army
the war.
reasons.
She did.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that, actually.
Yeah.
Makes sense now.
Yeah. So maybe there was, who knows, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a family, but of course, especially in the 80s. Sorry, I should have put this on airplane mode.
Well, it is the Love Boat.
Yes.
So airplane mode would have been appropriate.
Yeah, boat mode. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like, in the 80s, it was a thing where it's like, yeah, he probably started a family and spread his seed a bit, but then, like, as things will do, the army pulled him away from that.
He was, when he was younger, he was Tom Hanks. He was Rick Martin. Okay.
Oh, totally. Tearing it up.
All right. But yeah, you wanted to move on to Dennis.
I was just, I will preface this with, still would be a douche today if, like, this were today, but I will say, like, that reaction of a guy being like, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. Ooh, just found out you're pregnant. That is something that's going to have an effect on whether or not it can be the guy that you turn to. I think,
yeah, I mean, that's not the problem I have with Dennis.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm speaking as a guy, obviously.
I'm just saying this is one of the things that it would be, it still would be a, thing to...
It's a legitimate hang-on.
It's a legitimate hang-on. But, and I think it's unfortunate that Gwen is just so, she has no
backbone.
No backbone, no shoulder, no other shoulder to lean on other than Doc.
Yeah.
Doc. Rooting for Doc. That it just we feel much more the pain of him leaving her.
And even like it's extra excusable considering that it's been like a whirlwind 48-hour romance.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's like, okay, if that happened, you'd be like, what the fuck am I thinking?
Yeah.
I don't even know you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I gotta go. It would be different if they had actually had the time to really get, I love you. Oh, you're pregnant. I mean, that would be a little strange.
Yeah.
But,
it would be if they had been dating a month or something and then it came out.
Yeah. At that point, it would be like, why didn't you tell me earlier? So yeah, it's going to be a legitimate thing every time. But for pro, I almost wrote pro-choice, but then it's more like, no, he's pro his choice.
Yeah, he's pro his choice. He said, like, have you ever thought about just, nipping it in the bud?
Yeah. But pro, he's okay with abortion?
Yeah. He is pro-choice.
Mm-hmm. Pro came back for her. He's able to change his mind.
Yes,
that's important.
He's able to realize the error of his ways.
Pro has disposable cash.
Yes.
To waste on a vacation. Then he just leaves and gets a plane ticket, but also goes back.
Yes.
That's a nice pro.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of underrated pros for Dennis, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, she would. The baby would have a future. Would be taken care of. Did we find out if Gwen does anything for work?
She's a real estate agent.
Oh, real estate.
They're related in that way, and that's what he said the kissing comments thing, which is in the cons section.
Yes.
Although last pro for Dennis, he's willing to marry a woman who's pregnant with another man's child. That's a huge pro.
He takes some time to get to that decision, but that is a huge pro. Like I was hoping when we saw Gwen leaning against Doc's shoulder. I even said to you, I was like, if they bring Dennis back right now, I will not like this episode. And then, of course, they do, because it would still be kind of sad for her that she made this connection and then he was so put off by the baby, and he would just be sending the message that, oh, single mothers have no other option. But yeah, he does come back, so you have to acknowledge that he went through this life-changing decision in the course of, 24 hours.
Good. Cons.
Yes.
He's very superficial.
Yes.
Tells a woman to get an abortion.
Yes.
I mean, we call him douchebag Dennis for a reason, but now I'm struggling to find, like, okay.
Yeah, it is tough. It's one of those things that, because of today's standards, that we see him like, oh, come on, man.
So much of it is strangely, I'm attributing it to her weakness as a individual.
Yeah.
Because she's just so into him already.
Yeah, when you called it out, like, he comes back and he says, I'm sorry I ran away, that was all male ego, and she asks, it was? And it's like, no question mark, you should have just said, yeah, it was, you fucking asshole. I might be 2 months pregnant, but 7 months from now, well, maybe 8 months, a little time to, tighten things back up. This is going to be back, and we'll just have a baby to have to look after. And so, yeah, it's male ego to have been like, oh shit, can't deal with that, you're gonna be...
And fragile male ego to run away so extravagantly, too.
Yes. It couldn't even wait until you got back to the dock. Like, you had to run away in Mexico.
In Dennis's defense, maybe he went to reach his mentor early on, his therapist or something.
Talk some sense into him.
Hey, I love this girl. She's pregnant. What should I do? When'd you meet her? Yesterday. I don't think you should do it. Fuck you, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Maybe that was the comment. We just needed that scene, but just like Cheers, you couldn't have, first season of Cheers, you couldn't have a scene off the boat.
Yes. That first season of Cheers is so good.
So great.
But no Frasier, so obviously not my favorite.
I haven't made it to Frasier yet. I'm sorry, oh my god.
No, I'm just so excited for you, because
okay.
it's coming. I still haven't seen I've been waiting on the final episode of Cheers for years.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have the last bit of Frasier Crane go away outside of that one episode of Wings he cameos in, but that's it.
Yeah.
Back to the. I have one more thing for Dennis. I actually realized. Do you think he's what do you make of the monkey story?
I honestly tuned it out. I was just like, oh, he.
Does he really know someone who looks like her? I'm thinking, like, this is early pickup artist sort of behavior.
I think so. I would guess that too. That was like one of the reasons I tuned it out. It's like, I think I've had guys say like, wait, do I know you from somewhere? And I've just been like, no. Walk away.
I know someone who looks like you. Her name is, we called her Monkey.
Yeah, we called her Monkey. Isn't that a cute story? And then he shows up at her table the next day with bananas.
Like this inside joke they've made.
Yeah, when honestly, if I was that girl, and I was that girl, like, watching this, he brought those bananas and I had to be like, oh, because of the whole monkey,
Yeah,
he's like, oh, she must have thought my story was so entertaining. I know just how I'm going to break into conversation with her today.
It's like aggressively lobbing an inside joke at someone instead of sharing it with them.
Yeah.
But no, my interpretation, this is why I think this is why I think of Dennis as a douchebag more than anything else, is he came to the Love Boat with that plan. It's like, where's the hottest chick? I'm gonna hit whoever bites.
And with that context, yeah, it's pretty freaking impressive that he comes back at the end, because he probably was just like, in his mind, they're making out on the deck. They're having beautiful romantic dinners together, and he's just like, this is going to be a great adventure before I go home and find a girl and settle down. But then he gets this news that packs a punch, and he takes some time and he realizes, you know what? Maybe now's the time. Maybe this is the Love Boat.
Who am I going on this boat just trying to fuck women with this story?
Who do I think I am? Rick Martin?
Yeah, I don't want to be like that. That would have clinched this episode.
I do wish that there were more crossover moments. Like, I was thinking, the first time we had anyone from any storyline go over to another storyline was when Gopher went to Isaac's cabin in the middle of the night. And I was thinking like, oh, now they're tying things in. No, it was just like
It was just the Gopher story.
It was just the Gopher story.
Because Isaac really didn't have anything to do with the Sarge story. He just kind of received
observed it. Yeah.
He was our entrance to it.
Yeah.
And then our exit for some reason.
And then but then there was that scene with Isaac, Doc, and
the captain?
Yeah, the captain, where they're comparing notes of weird Gopher interactions.
Yeah.
Because he's been acting so silly lately.
Yeah.
That was the only time they had really like crossing moments.
Well, that's we didn't talk about this earlier. There's an interesting thing, and I'm assuming this is how this show is done.
Yeah.
Granted, I have no context. I'm not going to look it up.
Yeah.
But there are 3 credited episodes, quote unquote, on this episode. It's Sergeant Bull. I can't remember the name of them. But there's 3 different like episodes within this episode, but they're not like, it's not like most like anthology shows where it's like, oh, we have an episode, it wraps up, and then we do 2 more.
And there's like a new title and everything. Yeah.
It happens concurrently, so that makes me, and they're written by different people, so that makes me think they can't interact.
Yeah,
because,
they can't. That's interesting. They're written by different people too.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you just work on the Sarge storyline.
Yeah.
And I guess the only time they interact is visually, and that's like the director being like, all right, this scene, this will happen, and then we'll move over to these people, and then we'll move over. But it's like there was so much more opportunity because they're like, yeah, imagine that growth we just gave to Dennis on this podcast. If he had seen Rick Martin's behavior, he's like, I don't want to be this guy.
That would have been great. That would have been
I would have loved Dennis.
I can't end up like this. Yes.
Holy cow. And then maybe Sarge see, like, Rick...
And Sarge could have seen... How could Sarge tie in?
Sarge, maybe he sees Gopher. He's like, oh God, is this how afraid and I'm confused I'm a army sergeant, damn it.
He could see Gopher, and because both of their stories are a little bit, it started as a bet, but now I really love you kind of thing.
They should just talk and be like...
They could just talk and be like, it started as a thing, but I really have these feelings for her. And then Sarge could realize, I have feelings for Doris Roberts.
Yeah.
I gotta get with that.
Oh my God, that's so much better!
It would have been great, yeah. Well, that just goes to show how television has evolved, especially for hour-longs, of how the different storylines tie together.
Yeah.
But what's the name of this episode?
Well, that's the thing. They have 3 names.
They have 3 different names.
And I got it there. It was called, the 3 names of the episode were Sergeant Bull / Friends and Lovers / Miss Mother. So Sergeant Bull is the Sarge story, Friends and Lovers is the Gopher Hanks story, and Miss Mother is obviously our story about Gwen and Dennis. Oof.
Single mom.
Yeah. And look at the...
I get it, Miss, because like that, it's not a Mrs.
Yes.
It's all you need.
There was a story suggested by writing credit. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Geraldine Saunders.
Yeah.
Where is her career now? Geraldine, that's a woman's name? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Anyways.
So bringing it back to our last Bachelor.
Yeah.
Our bachelor party bachelor.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks's Rick Martin. All right.
Ooh.
Cons. Kind of a persistent dick.
Yeah. Doesn't take no for an answer.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Womanizer, I guess that can be like polyamorous. Okay, womanizer is negative though.
He can't imagine seeing a woman as a friend.
Yes, and that's a huge one. And then can't even really be good friends with a guy. Total dick to go for no reason.
He's probably been doing this for years. He just he sees a woman that Gopher has and he wants her. He sees any woman, honestly.
Very destructive personality, not like super confident, which is kind of a pro.
Yeah.
But in the way that it's like, okay, he thinks he's funny, he thinks he's charming, and it's not. But he's got the biggest pro. He's Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like if we're going with like physical attraction, he's got this beautiful white boy fro, with a little curl just to the side of the center of his forehead. And he's got the Tom Hanks look, and he's got, as I established before, gams. He's got legs. Those ladies are oiling him up, and all I can think is keep going.
This is unprecedented. This is a whole moment. Granted, this is very young, early, sprightly Hanks, but I
Yeah.
think you're the first female guest to come on the show and actually be like, yeah, Hanks has got some looks.
I'd
Everybody's
get on
like,
it.
he's too much of a dad.
Maybe, you know what it is? It's the Love Boat spell. We're falling under it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yep.
You're falling in love with Tom Hanks.
Falling in love with Tom Hanks.
Let me tell you, it's something I've gone through,
Yeah.
and it's been rewarding.
Honestly, I was hoping it was you.
Don't cry, shop girl.
I wanted it to be like, no, You Got Mail had me like on Team Tom Hanks, even though he was an asshole in that movie.
That's
so.
that's my favorite part about that movie.
Yeah.
It's like it's secretly his greatest villain role ever.
Yeah.
And he's like the combination of Dennis and Rick and well, not Sarge really, but everybody.
Yeah, that's true. Not so much as of a womanizer, but I think they had that a little more implied. And You've Got Anyway, we're not going to talk about You've Got Mail now.
No, we've done that episode. It's a great
That.
episode.
It was
Check
great.
out.
Yes, it was good. Long-time fan.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, Rick.
Rick.
Any pros, any cons? What are you thinking?
Let's dig a little bit. So we've got his looks, his pretty face.
He's the prettiest of all the bunch. This is
The prettiest of all the bunch. You know, what did he...
You didn't like the floppy hair Dennis.
He might have just gotten on the boat for those purposes. He might be one of those people, to just hook up with someone.
He buys into the vacation fling.
Yeah, he purchased those tickets with a purpose, and that purpose was to get some pussy. So,
which is fine. It's
people are entitled. You're a grown ass man. You can do what you want to do. So I can't hold that too much against him. It's.
I mean, you can hold it against him. It's like maybe that's not the kind of guy.
I can hold it against him that he sees another man's woman, not that.
As a target.
Not that it's his Gophers property or whatever, but he does target this woman who's spoken for, you know.
And he's a dick to his supposed friend.
Yeah. Even when he's trying to be nice, he's like, I can't believe I'm asking you this.
Oh my God.
But what's your secret?
Well, I don't have to ask, is this Tom Hanks' first time with bad like the other two? Dennis, we can obviously assume, has had relationships in the past.
Yeah. But wants an old-fashioned girl. So I think he's probably had relationships in the past with loose women.
Rick comes in, and he's clearly the most experienced.
Yeah.
Which does also have some benefits. There's a reason these three gorgeous women are oiling him up.
Yeah.
Who knows what happened the first night on the ship?
Yeah.
Or was that the first day?
I don't know. I would like to know if they if they got on the boat. Probably.
I guess that was the first day because we hadn't had a night scene at that point.
Yeah, we hadn't had a night scene
so
yet.
So he just instantly met three women because he didn't come with anybody.
You know what he probably did? He probably went out to that pool and like started like haphazardly rubbing oil on himself and just waited for the women to
Does
come.
that work?
No.
Damn it.
Not at all. No. That's just my best theory. Like, I can't imagine him walking up to three women and being like, I'm having a little trouble reaching the hard to reach spots, because they weren't his hard to reach spots. They were his legs and his arms and his chest.
So even with, Rick Martin comes in with this swagger, this charm. There has to be something with the Love Boat's magic that's getting this to happen. Yeah.
It's like he is already a stud off the boat, so the Love Boat, or it just enhances this, and women flock to him.
Makes me wonder if Cupid, is the secret captain of the Love Boat. And because
Maybe.
obviously not everybody on the Love Boat is targeted.
Yeah.
Nobody, Isaac wasn't falling in love this episode.
Yeah. Isaac's gotta find a lady or man.
I could see that. Isaac definitely swings in every direction.
I bet.
And I'm into it.
A good bartender always does.
Yeah.
I do love, there was a line at the top, sorry to bring this into doc territory, but there was Gwen was looking for the doctor to mention her condition, and she asks the little girl, or she asks the guy,
we gotta talk about Vicky, but continue.
Yeah, she asks, and they point her in the right direction of the doctor, and she goes to talk to him, and little girl Vicky just says wow, Doc's doing a lot better. He's got the women looking for him now. So that's the only frame of reference we have for Doc's
relationship. Yeah. His dating life.
He's a pursuer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is common.
Yeah.
For most men, certainly in this day and age.
Yeah.
Or that day and age, rather.
Yeah.
But
sorry, I think I might have taken us off topic.
No, it's all right. So we can wrap up this. We've gone through all the bachelors.
Yeah.
Who after playing devil's advocate and everything?
Pros and cons.
Who's the top of the list? Or do we want to start at the bottom?
Okay, yeah.
Do you know who your bottom is?
I'm going to start at the bottom.
Number 4, definitely a no.
Number 4, definitely a no. It's going to have to be Tom Hanks.
No! I get it.
I knew that was going to be hard to take.
Rick Martin's despicable.
Rick Martin is despicable. And here's the thing. I'm doing this off of, am I looking for a relationship? That's the way, that's the rules of it. If I was under the Love Boat spell of just looking for my someone to swing around the poop deck, it would maybe be Rick. But if I'm saying like, who do I want to pursue? Mm-hmm. It would not be Rick.
Makes sense. And but to be fair, if you were under the Love Boat spell, you wouldn't have a choice.
I wouldn't have a choice.
Whoever you kissed.
It was like I would step on, and then it wouldn't matter if there was a puddle. I would just slide in his direction. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there would be a puddle. Like, let's be.
No, I'm actually glad. I'm actually glad because I'm always talking about, and I talked about it on when the Circle came out. Several episodes out. Yeah. But he plays a more villain-ish role, and Hanks obviously has this wonderful charm, but I love to play against that. Yes. And I'm so glad to have in the pantheon of Hanks' filmography, we have another great villain, and that's Rick Martin. Great villain is maybe a bit pushing it, but he's
Martin.
Certainly
Womanizing
despicable.
Villain, yeah.
Certainly he's the most hateable of this bunch. And we got Douchebag Dennis on this list.
Douchebag Dennis. And I guess that moves me to the number 3 on the list. And this is going to throw you for a little bit of a loop because I'm changing my answer. Gopher.
No! Yeah. Gopher's so low!
Gopher moved down. Because, you make a good point. Like, he clearly doesn't have this. I think he needs a little more practice.
Now, that's I think I agree with you, which is I think I was pushing those points. But shitty for Gopher. How's he going to get those... Where's he going to get that practice?
It's true. It's one of those jobs that's like, it's entry level, but you have to have 5 years of experience. Yeah. It's rough, but, he's been striking out I think he just needs to, he and Julie need to explore what's going on between them, and then maybe if it doesn't work out, it's the same, I said the same thing for Sarge and Doris, but if it doesn't work out, I'll be there. Yeah.
It's certainly for Gopher, don't go for a coworker if this is your first.
It's tough.
Or even if first for a while at bat. Yeah. Come on.
I would like to think though, Gopher maybe got into the boating biz because maybe he was striking out on land. So it's the same thing that people do when they book a cruise, but he was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a job on the cruise, and maybe that's how I'll meet.
He'll meet more people that way because there's always new people coming into his life. Yeah. He's trying? I don't think he's trying.
I think he is I don't know, it's tough because from the first time we see him in this episode, he just goes for it with Julie, puts his arm around her, and even though it's just to impress a friend at the time, like
he has confidence in it in moments.
He has confidence in that moment, and if he could just find a way to to just harness that confidence and use it even when he's not lying to make himself look better. Mm-hmm. That he'd have it.
And he needs to do a little bit of some reading, I think, on the subject of dating.
Yeah, and also I'm just gonna say maybe change his name.
Gopher is not a great.
Get a better. Well, Burl is not a great name. Gopher's not a good nickname. Strikeout Smith. Whew, life is tough.
Burl Smith.
Yeah. But you know what? I have high hopes for him.
If you had to date him, would you call him Burl or Gopher?
His initials are BS too. That's. I think I would just go with Gopher. Gopher. I don't know. I'd have to find a way to make it.
Gopher cute. Grace.
Gopher. Yeah.
Go-go. Oh, I'd call him Go-go. That'd be that'd be my pet name if I got together with Go-go.
I wonder where Gopher came from. Maybe he is just a gopher of the boat. Go for this, go for that.
No, okay, it's interesting. Did Tom Hanks ever call him Gopher?
Yes.
Okay, so then it would have been a name.
That's
his
why
whole life,
we thought maybe like it was just a college nickname,
Yeah.
and everyone on the boat was calling him that too. And he's
That's so
credited
unfortunate.
as
He
that.
made this life change. I'm going to be on this boat, and he introduced himself as Gopher.
Yeah.
Oh, Burl. Oh, well, I guess I get it.
Burl. There are millions of other better nicknames.
Gopher is better than Burl.
Burl.
It's like Earl, but with a bull on it. Speaking of which, who's your number 2?
Number 2.
I think I know, but...
Oh, God.
Oh, really? You're still not...
Yeah. No, it's Douchebag Dennis.
Douchebag Dennis is number 2.
Douchebag Dennis is, in many ways, number 2.
What keeps him from number 1?
What keeps him from number 1 is...
Because I know why he's number 3, because we looked at the other 2.
He moves fast. While I know with Gopher, like Gopher had that same thing. He takes a kiss and thinks it means marriage, you know?
That's also the love boat spell.
That's the love boat spell.
It's presumable.
There's too many things to take into account here. But I think because of the story, the monkey story, the bananas, the inside joke we talked about, that's what keeps him from being number 1. What keeps him from being number 4, which is like, when we started talking, I was thinking, oh yeah, Douchebag Dennis. Why would I? Because I had forgotten. Yeah, Tom Hanks is going to be one on that list. But what keeps him from number 4 is, yeah, he spoke before knowing, then he knew, he heard the news of the baby on board. And Matt had a lapse of judgment, flew away, but he came back. And even though I don't like that, and if he were to come back to me and I would maybe be a little like, no, I'm sorry, you missed your chance. I'm with Doc now. Again, really rooting for Doc.
Doc is the best.
Doc is the best. But yeah, that's what keeps him from number 4. He came back, and good for him. Good for him.
He's shown growth.
Gwen had to take what she could get because she is a pregnant single woman in the 80s.
Yes. So that makes it your number 1.
My number 1 is Sarge.
Sarge, really?
Yeah.
I was not expecting this.
He marched back into my heart.
Tell me why Sarge is number 1. Your pick.
Okay, number 1 because we even established like they're the older couple in this. They're the ones that are there for a relationship. They're even though the others' storylines, it's hinted, well, we're together forever now. But yeah, with Sarge, it was never just like he didn't get on that boat to get some pussy, you know?
He went on that boat
to
with
reconnect with his buddies. So,
he has stuff going on.
And I like a guy who has stuff going on, has fun stories to tell me, and even though like sometimes the army could be a little intimidating, and it was a freaking like get over it thing of him to keep saying like nothing that happened to me in the war compares to this is the most hurtful thing. I think if I were to start a relationship with anyone, it would be Sarge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he's got that muscular physique too, that helps.
He's got that muscular physique. He will take care of me. I wish...
It certainly seems like he'll let you take the lead on some things.
Yeah, I
which can be a plus or a minus, depending on you.
I maybe would have liked to meet him when he was younger, but maybe I think I just need to be older. Like, I would like to meet him when I'm older.
Well, considering this was shot in 1980, he's probably a lot older now.
Yes, there you go.
Or dead.
Yeah.
But Sarge, congratulations.
Sarge, you won my heart.
I think
my purple heart.
Before we have to wrap up, what's your theory on Vicky?
Vicky.
She's the one
Little orphan
regular
Vicky, no.
cast member who isn't working on the ship, but she's in every episode apparently, or at least in this season she's in every episode.
Yeah, she's a series regular.
And we know she was in at least the last season because they didn't. Who's Vicky?
Yeah.
Everybody know. But like, seriously, who the fuck is Vicky?
Yeah.
What's this 14-year-old girl doing every day on a boat?
Yeah,
Is this summer vacation? Does she get
I wonder if it's
homeschooled?
a semester at sea kind of situation.
Every year?
Maybe it's a sweet life on deck situation.
I guess she could be sea
where
schooled.
she could be sea schooled. Her parents or one of her parents works on the boat.
I was like, is she the
and
captain's
she's
daughter?
homeschooled. But yeah, maybe she's the captain's daughter or granddaughter.
I guess that's true. That makes sense. He's a gray fox.
I don't know. And I did want to think of like like season-long ideas for some of these characters.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, okay. Vicky, I'm just gonna say, like, the first one I want to go to is Orphan, Little Orphan Vicky.
Little Orphan Vicky.
And they're just raising her on a boat.
Well, it's international waters,
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
Technically.
And she's gonna be super well traveled. Mm-hmm. So good for
maybe
her.
not super book smart, but I think she's gaining the wisdom of the world. She's
gonna know nautical stuff.
Yeah.
You know, more. She's gonna know how to finish that sentence that I just.
Now I have a pet theory. Vicky's never been on land before.
Oh.
What if Vicky is the source?
Davy Jones.
Yes.
Yes.
And then what if that makes Vicky the source of the love boat spell?
She's the love boat sorceress.
She's the sea witch.
Yes.
Little orphan sea witch Vicky.
Sea witch.
That's okay. That's my canon.
That's what she's. I honestly, that makes more sense than anything I could come up with.
Yeah.
Which means if she were to leave the boat, it would no longer be the love boat.
Oh, and that makes me think that the reason they never explain Vicky, they never question her because she's just part of the ship, the part of the crew, part of the ship.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean style, but yeah, and so like nobody ever thinks to ask, what's this little girl doing here? Because it's like it's part of the spell. It's blinding.
Maybe she's not even there.
Well,
no, I'm kidding. That's going a little too... Like, maybe only the crew can see her.
Yeah, well, no, because Gwen talks to her.
Oh, yeah, Gwen talks to her. That's right.
But no, yeah, there's just like this perception field around her where it's like, I'm not going to question this.
Yeah.
And that's just part of her sea goddess powers.
Yeah. I definitely didn't... I mean, there were kids on my cruise to tie it back into my experience.
What happens to Rick Martin after this? Does he learn his lesson?
Well, he's got the words there, and I would like to think that he files them somewhere in his memory. He's getting off the boat, so his womanizing tactics are maybe brought down just a notch, if anything.
It doesn't, like, from Gopher's reaction or response, it doesn't seem like he's gonna learn.
Yeah.
Oh, try being friends with.
He's not. It's gonna be a while. Like I know people like Rick. Like and it is one of those things. Like, you see it in chick flicks sometimes, or you see when women talk about this draw that they have to men, and they're like, but I know that he's like, he wouldn't be faithful, blah, blah. Maybe I could change him. He's gonna meet a lot of women who are gonna try to change him, and then they will be, unfortunately, disappointed. But I think...
Do you think enough of those women hurling themselves at him to change him will eventually break through?
I think he's young now. He's going to reach that age where, probably like 40. He's going to get closer to his 40s.
He's going to get fat. He's going to get diabetes type 2.
He's not going to have those same gams. And he's going to realize, he's going to look around him, oh, all my friends are married off now. Maybe I need to stop this.
And he doesn't have the game anymore.
He doesn't
have the bod.
Doesn't have the bod.
He's not on the love boat.
He has become Strikeout Smith.
Ooh.
Strikeout Martin. Doesn't have the same ring to it, but...
Die Alone Rick.
Die Alone Rick. Rick the Dick. I don't know. We could go on.
Yeah. I think so. I think that's right. I think that's what would happen to Rick Martin.
Yeah.
But I know what happens to Tom Hanks after this. This is an episode that came out just before they launched his series, Bosom Buddies, which is what we're talking about next week. Fine, we're doing the entire series. I haven't started watching them when I recorded this episode. I gotta get like 2 seasons of a show. All in that time.
Wow, and who's going to watch that with you? Not me. Nose guys.
No, I found some dupe to do it. But Lauren, thanks so much for being on the show.
So fun.
This was amazing.
I
didn't know we'd have a lot to talk about. We talked about everything.
Mm-hmm. And I really do hope you start a Colin Hanksgiving. You know, if you find the time.
More so than Rita Wilson. See, I don't have anything.
Yeah, we didn't come up with anything. Rita Will. There's no holiday.
Well, if I start a fringe podcast for either one, I'll have you back on, of course. In the meantime, where can people find you elsewhere on the internet? I'm
at LLCoolScharf on the Twitter and on the Instagram, and you can find my YouTube if you Google or if you YouTube search Lazy Sundays with Lauren Scharf, or if you just go youtube.com/Lauren Scharf. That's SCHARF. You'll find me. You can watch some videos. I do some tutorials, and I help you fix your pants. So.
And all those links will be in the show notes. Any recommendations for local listeners?
For local listeners to find me,
Not like I'm going to be at IKEA later. No. But
I'm going to IKEA after this. No, for local listeners, I am one of the head writers for a sketch show called Top Story Weekly. It shows at IO West in Hollywood, Sunday nights at 8. It's a new show every week, and it's a really good time. And with the news being what it is these days, sometimes you just need a laugh. So come on down.
Check it out. And follow the show, of course, at Tom Hanks Pod. Follow me at Elvis Kaboom on Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe, do all that shit, give us some ratings. Tell us, I want to know, who is your Bachelor ranking?
Yeah. And if you're a Love Boat watcher,
how wrong were
how wrong were we? Or maybe you like our theories more than what's
better?
canon?
Yeah.
You like our fan fiction a little more.
Exactly.
Tell us what's up with the Love Boat.
All right. And we'll be back next week with Bosom Buddies. Until then, thanks for listening.
Tom Hanks, we fell in love with you, Tom Hanks, just like so many do deeply, because you made us smile, and your great on-screen style. So that's why we give thanks, 'cause you got a friend